When I walked the Camino de Santiago this past June, one of the things that I noticed were the many vineyards that were there. Some were large vineyards like this one, row after row after row of grapevines. Others were just one or two vines planted together. And then there was this one that formed kind of a canopy as we walked under it for 30 or so yards. The grapes were just beginning to grow, but you could begin to make out the clusters. I thought about those vineyards and those grapevines as I read our lessons for today. Isaiah starts off with a rather melodic tale of a vineyard. In ancient Israel, the vineyard was a symbol of the Jewish people, the people of Israel. Isaiah, being the prophet that he was challenging the people with the story. God planted good grapes, but what he got was wild grapes. Now, Jesus was most certainly aware of all this as he tells his own parable of the vineyard. And it is certainly applicable to us today as much as it was to the people of Israel. In the story, an owner plants a vineyard and then gives it to tenants to take care of. Today, God gives us a world, and he asks us to take care of it. In the story, the owner wants a return on his investment. He wants his grapes. God wants a return on his investment in us as well. He wants us to produce fruit. And while Jesus makes it clear that the vineyard will be taken away from the people who don't produce fruit back then, it should frighten us just a little bit, maybe even a lot, if we aren't producing good fruit ourselves right now. These readings challenge us collectively as a parish to produce good fruit. It challenges us as individuals, as stewards, to ask ourselves the hard questions. Are we producing good fruit as a parish? Am I producing good fruit as an individual? As I said, Jesus was most certainly aware of that passage from Isaiah when he told his own parable. He was also aware of it when he said this in Matthew's gospel: "By their fruits you will know them. Do people pick grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? Just so every good tree bears good fruit, and a rotten tree bears rotten fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a rotten tree bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit will be cut down and thrown into the fire. So by their fruits you will know them." It's a challenge to us to reflect on whether or not we're producing good fruit for God's kingdom. And Jesus was also aware of this passage from Isaiah when he said this in John's gospel: "I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine grower. He takes away every branch in me that does not bear fruit, and every one that does he prunes so that it bears more fruit." And then he adds this: "Remain in me as I remain in you. Just as a branch cannot bear fruit on its own unless it remains on the vine, so neither can you unless you remain in me. I am the vine and you are the branches. Whoever remains in me and I in him will bear much fruit, because without me you can do nothing." If you look at the numbering on those two verses, it's John 15, 1 and 2, and then John 15, 4 and 5. I purposefully left out verse 3. This is Jesus talking to his disciples. This is Jesus talking to those people who have chosen to follow him and those people that want to learn about him. The verse I left out is this. He said in verse 2, one of them that I read, "He takes away every branch in me that does not bear fruit, and every one that he does, he prunes so that it bears more fruit." And then he tells his followers this: "You are already pruned because of the word I spoke to you." In other words, God has given his followers, he's given us what we need to succeed. He has pruned us, and he has made us ready to bear fruit. But my friends, we still have to do the work. We have to remain connected to him, and we have to produce a harvest. People need to come to Jesus because of our lives. People need to come to Jesus because of this parish family. Today's reading should cause us to pause and to reflect and to ask the questions, am I producing a good harvest for God? What are the fruits by which God knows me? Because if we don't produce good fruit, the kingdom of heaven can be taken away even from us.